Did you know that while Europe was building wooden castles, Africans were constructing massive stone cities without a single drop of mortar? Most people believe Africa had no ancient civilizations beyond one region. They imagine villages and simple structures. But what if I told you that in the heart of southern Africa, engineers built a stone metropolis so advanced that colonial archaeologists refused to believe Africans created it? This is the story of Great Zimbabwe, a city that challenges everything you thought you knew about African history. In the southeastern hills of modern-day Zimbabwe stands a monument European explorers could not explain. Massive stone walls, some over 30 feet tall, towers rising toward the sky, narrow passageways designed with precision, all built between the 11th and 15th centuries. When Europeans first encountered these ruins in the 1800s, they invented wild theories. They claimed Phoenicians built it. Some said it belonged to the biblical Queen of Sheba. Others insisted it must have been Arabs, anyone except Africans. Why? Because the architecture was too sophisticated, the engineering too advanced, the scale too impressive. But archaeological evidence tells a very different story. Great Zimbabwe was built by the Shona people, a Bantu civilization that thrived for over 300 years. They constructed it stone by stone, without mortar, using deep knowledge of geometry, physics, and the natural properties of granite. To understand how extraordinary this is, you have to understand the construction itself. The walls of Great Zimbabwe are made from precisely cut granite blocks, stacked so perfectly that no binding material was needed. No cement, no mud, no mortar, just stone on stone, held together by weight, friction, and brilliant engineering. The Great Enclosure, the largest ancient structure south of the Sahara, has walls up to 16 feet thick at the base. The outer wall stretches for more than 800 feet in a near-perfect elliptical curve. Inside stands the conical tower, a solid stone structure whose purpose still fascinates researchers today. Think about what this required: quarrying granite from nearby hills, shaping each block by hand, calculating load distribution, designing drainage systems to survive heavy rains, creating doorways, passages, and platforms across uneven terrain. This wasn't primitive building. This was civil engineering. Now here's the question that should make you pause. If one African civilization could build cities like this, how many others have been ignored, forgotten, or deliberately erased from the story we're told about human progress? Great Zimbabwe wasn't just architecturally advanced, it was economically powerful. The city sat at the center of a vast trade network connecting the African interior to the Indian Ocean coast. Gold, ivory, copper, and iron flowed from Great Zimbabwe to Swahili trading ports like Kilwa and Sofala. From there, these resources reached Arabia, Persia, India, and China. Archaeologists have discovered Chinese ceramics in the ruins, glass beads from India, Persian pottery, cowrie shells from the coast. This was a cosmopolitan city engaged in international commerce more than 600 years ago. The wealth generated from this trade supported a population estimated between 10,000 and 20,000 people at its peak. The elite lived in the Hill Complex, a royal residence overlooking the city. Below them lived farmers, craftsmen, traders, and herders, all contributing to a complex urban economy. Among the most powerful symbols found at the site are the Zimbabwe Birds, soapstone sculptures carved into stone pillars. These birds represented political authority and spiritual power. Today, they appear on the national flag of Zimbabwe, a nation named after this ancient city. So why does Great Zimbabwe matter to Africa as a whole? Because it destroys the myth that Africa had no history before colonialism. It proves that African societies developed sophisticated political systems, advanced architectural techniques, and global economic networks independently. And Great Zimbabwe was not alone. It existed alongside other African civilizations: the Kingdom of Congo, the Swahili city-states, the Mali Empire, Great Benin, Aksum, Nubia, and many more. Each developed unique technologies, systems of governance, and cultural achievements. But Great Zimbabwe holds special significance because it cannot be explained away. The ruins still stand. The evidence is undeniable. And the message is clear. African intelligence, innovation, and organization built cities that rivaled anything in the medieval world. By the mid-15th century, Great Zimbabwe was gradually abandoned. Researchers believe environmental changes, resource depletion, and shifting trade routes led people to migrate northward, where new kingdoms later emerged. The city fell silent. Vegetation reclaimed it. Time buried its story. But the stones remained. When scientific archaeology finally studied the site properly in the 20th century, the truth became impossible to deny. Radiocarbon dating, artifact analysis, and architectural studies all confirmed African origins. The racist theories collapsed under the weight of evidence. Today, Great Zimbabwe is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Africa's most important archaeological treasures. If this story expanded your understanding of African history, consider liking this video. It helps more people discover these untold chapters of human civilization. And subscribe to Did You Know Africa? Because there are hundreds more stories like this, kingdoms, innovations, and achievements that deserve to be known. Let's build a community of curious minds that refuses to accept incomplete histories. The stones of Great Zimbabwe stand as silent witnesses to a truth the world once tried to forget. Africa has always been a continent of builders, thinkers, and innovators. The question isn't whether African civilizations were advanced. The evidence already answers that. The real question is this: how many other stories are still waiting in the soil, in forgotten ruins, and in the memories of a continent whose history is far richer than you were taught? Great Zimbabwe isn't just a monument to the past. It's a reminder that the full story of Africa and humanity is still being uncovered.